All right, gang, I think everybody's that's going to be here is here. So, staff, we have everybody on your end that's going to be here. We waiting for anybody? No? Okay.
Nope, we've got everyone.
Okay.
Just a reminder, please turn on your microphones when you're speaking.
I think it's on. It should be on. It's
Okay.
on. All right. All right, so we'll we'll call the meeting to order for June 14th. Roll call first, Steve Ball, Phoebe Benziger, Jen Chastain, Chad Huffman is absent, Delphine Jadot, Richard Rogers, Ronald Cairns, and I'm David Fishering, and I'm here. So first, approval of the minutes from the 24th of May. You guys have any issues with the minutes as they were sent back to us? All right, and I will entertain a motion.
I move to present as, or accept as presented.
Thanks, Phoebe. Do I have a second? Second. Thanks, Richard. All those in favor? All right. All those opposed? Okay, minutes are approved. We got 2 agenda items today. Staff, can we just do one presentation and then vote on the 2 things separately? Is that okay, or do we have to do 2 presentations?
That is the plan.
Okay.
I was going to say no if you asked me to do 2. Yeah, so we'll do the one presentation for 2 items. They are technically 2 separate items. They do technically require their own hearing. Obviously, there's no one from the public here. But they do require 2 separate motions and 2 separate votes. But
Okay.
I will begin, if that's okay.
Yep, go for it.
Yep, okay. So this is a proposed mixed-use office and residential development, which is located on lots 5 and 6 of the Oxbow Crossing subdivision. This would ordinarily not require a large retail site development, but there was a plat note on the Oxbow Crossing subdivision plat that requires all buildings, regardless of size or use, to be subject to the large retail site development standards. Large retail site development applications are reviewed and approved by the Planning Commission. These are, excuse me, lost my space in my notes here. There we
William,
go.
can you hold on one second? I don't know if you guys need these to work, these aren't working. I don't know if you guys can see up there, or if you've got it all on your computer's personal stuff. Everybody's got the personal one?
I think
Yeah,
we're okay.
everybody's okay? All right, cool. All right, thanks. I just want to make sure everybody could see.
Be nicer next time. Yeah, this time.
All right. Sorry, William. Go ahead.
Okay, apologize for that. Yeah. So these are the site development documents themselves. Given that there's no one from the public here, I won't go too into depth as these are in the tonight's packet. They're better viewed here. I know they're a little bit difficult to see on these screens. This first page shows the proposed building. One thing to note is the parking lot. Ordinarily, at least 20% of the parking, depending on other factors, would need to be located to the side or the rear of the building. This does make sense for a site like Walmart or Target or a big box store like that, but not so much for a smaller property like this, and that's kind of one of the unintended consequences of the plat note that requires all buildings here to be subject to the large retail site development standards. So the applicant is applying for a variance as well to this parking requirement. This page shows the drainage and the grading for the site. And then this page shows the utility plans for the site. I don't have too much to say about that. If Scott would like to chime in, I'll invite him to afterwards. But one thing to note, we do also require a lighting plan to be submitted. This sheet shows the location and types of the lighting proposed for the site. And then this page here shows the photometric map of the foot candles for the proposed lighting. And this is the sheet that I'll show for the landscaping. Landscaping is obviously required for all site development applications as well as the large retail site development. Same thing with the lighting plans. Here are the proposed elevations for the site. One of the other large retail site development standards is the variations to materials, facade kind of setbacks, as well as colors, etc. As I said, they are also requesting a variance to the parking standards. In order to be approved, the variance should not be adverse to the public health, safety, and welfare. Unusual circumstances should exist, such as unusual lot size or shape, such as we have here. The circumstances have not been created as a result of the action or inaction of the applicant. The variance should represent the minimum variance that will afford relief. It should not result in development incompatible with other properties or buildings in the area, and an alternative site planning approach has been submitted that meets the objectives of these standards. And then for this final slide, here are some images of the site. It's obviously currently vacant and is a ripe site for development. Staff finds that the proposed variance meets the requirement in section 1189. We are recommending approval of that application, and we are also recommending approval of the large retail site development application, though that approval does depend on whether or not you approve the variance application. For that, we are recommending the conditional approval of the Oxbow Crossings, the conditional approval of the Pines at Oxbow Crossing large retail site development, with the condition that the recording of the Oxbow Crossing subdivision fourth amended plat is completed, which is a plat that would remove the lot lines between lots 5 and 6. That has gone through review and is ready to be recorded, but the applicant has waited to submit the final Mylars pending approval of the site development to make sure that the proposed easements won't be problematic if they have to make changes as a result of this meeting, though we are not recommending making any changes. With that, again, we are recommending approval of both the variance and the large retail site development application. I'm happy to answer any questions. We do have the applicant here tonight. If they would like to add anything, please step forward and state your name and address.
How's it going? I'm Brad Yeager, 1403 5 Mile Creek Avenue. Kind of as William stated, we feel like it's the best intended use of the property. A nice residential mixed-use apartment building with some office space, meant to fit in and complement the area. So I don't know if you have any questions, but that's all I have to add.
Thanks, Brad.
Thanks.
You guys have, wait 1 second, Brad. Do you guys have any questions for the applicant?
How many apartments are you thinking of stores on that?
There's 26 residential units and 2 office space units.
Now, I did notice as I drove by, there's a Ridgeline Homes sign
Yes,
right there.
that is also my company.
Oh, okay, but Ridgeline Homes, they're not doing
No, it's our, we own the lot. I put up some signage there, but it's a, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sir?
That's all I have.
You guys got any other questions? Nope. Nope. All right, thanks, Brad.
Thanks.
Yep.
Question. Oh, there we go. So this was super fast. So as I went through the requirement and seeing what we're doing here, what I'm trying to understand is exactly the variances that we're approving today and why it's different than the requirement from the city. So I understand the lot line and that we're merging essentially the 2 property that he owns, correct? So that's one of them, but then the parking variance, is it because it's less than is required, or help me understand the parking required?
So the plat removing the lot lines, that is not a variance. That is an amended plat application. That's something that's done administratively. That's something that had been worked on previously and is ready to be approved and recorded. We can do that today. We could have done that before this hearing tonight. However, because approval of this application, the large retail site development application, could have implications for that plat, they requested that that would not be recorded until this is approved, assuming it is approved. We thought that was a reasonable request, so that has not been recorded yet. The variance application, the sole variance that is being sought is the location of the parking. They're not requesting a variance to the number of spaces allowed. They have the required number of spaces per our parking standards.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
One of the large retail site development standards requires, depending on how much landscaping they include, anywhere from 20% to 40% of the parking needs to be located to the side or the rear of the building. That makes sense for a site development such as Walmart, for example, or one of those big box stores that the large retail site development standards were really intended for. Given that this is not one of those site developments, this is a much smaller building, it's a different use. However, the unintended consequence of the plat note on the Oxbow Crossing subdivision plat requires all buildings, regardless of their size or use, are subject to that standard as well. We do feel that, given the difference in the use and the difference in size, the variance request to allow all of the parking in front of the structure is a reasonable request.
Thank you, that helps a lot.
William, could you, I have no problem with the variance on the parking. I just want to know, because we don't get these big, large retail site developments very often. If that's the standard, is 20% of Walmart's parking on the side or the back of the building, or Home Depot's, or the stuff at Target? It doesn't look like 20% to me.
So there is parking on the side and the rear of Walmart and Target. I have not been out there and
Yeah.
counted.
I mean, did they ask for this, for similar variances? Do we know?
I don't
Scott,
know
do
if the big box was, I can't remember the timing on Walmart. Target was, I think, later. Target has some. You'll notice there's like a weird kind of strip back there that nobody uses. I think
Yeah.
that was an artifact of that. They have a the idea, I think, is to get away from that development pattern of, just a sea of parking lot and this building way at the back end. and
Yeah,
a little strip.
100%.
I think Target was more modern, I think that had it. Walmart's just that little bit of side parking, the rest is the auto center and stuff.
Or do they just get around it because part of because it's a planned development, like it's not?
It either got a variance or was before, because I know Big Box came in kind of similar era to when Oxbow came in, and I can't remember the exact timing, that was before my time, but that might be why, that might explain why there's some of those discrepancies there. Ones that really don't like the other big box in town, like Office Depot and those, it's essentially 100% in the front.
Yeah.
And you have a little bit in the back, but those were definitely before the big box standards.
Okay. Cool. You guys have any other questions for staff?
Can I make a motion to approve the parking?
No, not yet.
Sorry.
No, you cannot. All right, in that case, we'll open up the public comment portion for the variance first. And as there's nobody here from the public, we will close the public comment portion for the variance. And then we'll open up the public comment portion for the large subdivision site development. And similarly, seeing no public comment out there, we will close that. And
I have a
now,
quick question on that, actually.
if there's no other discussion necessary on either item, I will entertain first a motion on the variance. I thought you were ready.
I was, okay.
Oh, yeah. Hold on.
Trying to find what the recommendations. Because I have, forgive me for waiting some explanation.
Yeah, go ahead,
I
Jan.
had some questions about do you have it in front of you? The difference between the two approvals. One was with,
So the site development one has a condition on it based on the site development meeting all the other stuff that it has to do with the city. The variance doesn't have any conditions on it. The variance is just that we're allowing them to have the variance to have their parking lot as it was presented.
the one mentions section 4, whatever that was. Which one was that?
That's the, yeah, that's the,
What is the difference between, we're not voting on that one, sorry.
Yeah.
But I want to discuss it.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, so I will entertain a motion on the variance, if,
I hereby make a motion to approve the request to allow the variance to waive the parking requirement prohibiting the placement of all parking between the front facade and the abutting street for the Pines at Oxbow Crossing. The request meets the code criteria and standards based on the evidence and testimony presented at this hearing and in this staff report.
All right, do I have a second?
I'll second it.
All right.
Before you vote, I need to see if I can clarify this, and perhaps it's just for me. But I was looking at the big screen over there, and it says, staff recommends approval of the variance and the large retail site development applications with condition that the Oxbow Crossing Fourth Amended plat, rather, is recorded. Have we captured that for both? Will, can you help me here? Are we doing this as necessary in your mind?
So in my opinion, the condition for the recording of the amended plat is required for the large retail site development standard. And that's how it's reflected in the staff report. If you feel that would also be required for the variance motion, obviously that may be appropriate.
Logically, I think it makes sense, doesn't it, to have it for both? And you said
Yeah.
that, I assume it was you who said that in the report on the screen, but when I wasn't hearing that in the oral motion, I thought maybe we ought to step in and see if we can correct that.
Yeah, so the proposed motion in the packet recommends the conditional approval with the condition that the amended plat is recorded. I would recommend that for both the variance application and the large retail site development application. So that condition should appear in both motions.
Okay. So we've seconded the motion that Delphine made that did not include that. Do you want us to vote that down or just amend it?
You can amend the motion.
Okay, so Delphine, would you like to amend your motion so that it contains basically the last bit of that fourth bullet point up there? So that it's under the
Can I
variance?
amend my motion? Never mind. Sorry. So, same as what I said before. Should I say staff recommends, or?
I would just
No.
say that your
So, with the
motion-
condition of the approval of the variance and large retail site development application with the condition that Oxbow Crossing Subdivision 4th amended plat is recorded. End of motion. Who seconds?
That's correct, and thank you.
We good? All right. So, do we have a second for that?
I'll second that.
All right. Thank you, Ron. Hold on, put that on here. All right, any discussion on the variance motion as presented? No? No? All
The
right.
other one?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Okay, so the parking variance is approved. Now, do we have to have any discussion? Jan, did you get what you get what you wanted from that, about the fourth, about the section, whatever?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay, all right. Any other discussion on the actual site development plan?
Also, reviewing it again, explain it to me like I'm a 6-year-old. Why are we here? Because it looks to me like it's something that is pretty standard around.
So normally site developments would just be an administrative process. However, per code, large retail site development standards do have to be reviewed and approved by the planning commission.
Oh, so we're not approving anything that is outside of the lines of what we usually have in town. You know what I mean? It's not something that is a height requirement that falls above, right? Because I read through the whole report and I couldn't really see so I see what you mean. Great. I have no more
The main thing,
questions.
William, was that like in the original Oxbow plat, it says that we have to, any development that happens in there has to come before here.
Correct.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
it's
Something they
got it.
agreed to whenever they did Oxbow, whenever that was.
Make the units affordable, please.
All right. If there's no other discussion, then I will entertain a motion on the development plan. Anyone?
And don't forget to add line 4. Can we put line 4 back up there? Because we're going to have to add it.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I stopped sharing my screen. I'll bring it back up.
Okay. We're just going to need it to make it valid.
So you have to add line 4 to this one?
Yes.
Yes, yeah, make sure you include the verbiage of the fourth amended plat being,
So right after the comma.
So anybody want to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion. Hereby make a motion to approve the request to approve the large retail site development plan for the Pines at Oxbow Crossing, conditioned on the recording of the Oxbow Crossing subdivision fourth amended plat. The request meets the code criteria and standards based on evidence and testimony presented at this hearing in the staff report, and recommend approval
With the condition.
with the condition.
I think you already had it in there. It's already in that one that
It's
you said.
already in that one.
Yep.
Oh, well, as stated.
Yep. Yeah, that one already
And
included.
I'll second.
All right, thanks Delphine. Any discussion required on motion as presented? No? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? All right, motion passes unanimously. All right. Staff, any other business?
I don't have any other business. Nope.
All right, do we have a meeting next time?
Yes, we will have a planning commission meeting on June 28th.
28th, okay. And then, I guess that's it. Do you guys have anything else that we need to talk to staff about, or anything else, concerns, questions? No? Okay. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. All right, second? Somebody? Jan, thanks, Jan. All right, all those in favor? All right. Boom. We are adjourned.